Today, I challenged myself to make a vegan bento box under $3 in less than 15 minutes in the morning without prepping ahead of time. We begin with carrot salad. Julienne carrot into much thin sticks. Fun fact about the carrots are rich in beta-carotene. Beta-carotene is a nutrient that will be converted into vitamin A, which helps to keep our eyes and skin healthy. Cooking with oil increases the absorption of vitamin A. These kinds of small facts motivate me to cook at home more. Can anyone resonate with this? Once it's shredded, sprinkle some salt and massage. Leave it for 5 minutes or until the carrot starts to sweat. In the meantime, crush your choice of nuts into small bits. I'm using almond, but walnuts, peanuts would be a great option.
人参も入ってるし飛んでっちゃうし何が正解これ袋の中でやればよかった
I usually crush them inside of the zip bag, but today I feel like using this fancy mortar and pestle, which causes us a little bit of a struggle. Back to carrots, squeeze the moisture and toss it with your choice of oil. I'm using flaxseed oil, which is high in omega-3 fats. Then in goes balsamic vinegar and soy sauce, followed by crushed almonds. Almonds will soak up all the dressing and work perfectly in the bento box. This will easily last up to 4 days in the fridge, so make a batch and enjoy as a side dish throughout the week. Your skin and the eyes will be pleased for sure. The next one is spicy garlic edamame. This is also a great snack if you make it ahead of time. Minced garlic. Mincing garlic is probably the least favorite chopping of mine. If you are someone like me, my garlic oil is a lifesaver. You can make a big batch, and in a way, it only requires you chopping garlic once a week. Let me put the recipe link in the description box. To the pan, add toasted sesame oil, garlic, and chili flakes. Keep the heat low since we don't want to burn the garlic. Once it's fragrant, add frozen edamame followed by a couple pinch of salt. Give it a good stir, then close the lid. Steam it for 2 minutes. If you don't like spicy food, you can omit the chili flakes. When the edamame is nice and cooked, have a taste and adjust it with more salt. Just a heads up, as it cools down, the edamame will soak up more flavor and the taste will get bold, so try not to over salt at this point. Transfer to the container and add freshly crushed black pepper. This black pepper is so important. Like I said, I often snack on this while I'm working. Next up, the easiest teriyaki tofu. Before I show you this, I need to make a disclaimer. My challenge for this bento is to make it easy. So I was trying to minimize the process as much as I could, which led me to a disaster. With that being said, let me show you this. We have firm tofu. Remove the moisture by putting something heavy on top of it. Firm tofu in Japan is a lot softer compared to the one outside of Japan. If you have one, pick extra firm tofu for this. Once the moisture has removed, wipe off the excess as much as possible, otherwise the oil will splatter all over on you. To the pan, add oil. Any neutral oil is fine. Crumble tofu into the pan just using your hand. No knife and cutting board needed. Yay! Sprinkle on some salt, then cook them until it's nice and brown on the bottom. Now it's time to flip. I was assuming the tofu would easily come off, but it ended up sticking to the pan. Oh no! To prevent this, there will be 2 ways. Tip number 1, use non-stick pan. I only use a stainless steel pan now, so it was a bit hard to do with my skill. Tip number 2, cold tofu with some starch. I showed it before in regular teriyaki tofu recipes, so let me leave the recipe in the description box below. It requires more effort, but it turns out a lot better. It's really delicious. Once you flip it, wipe off the excess oil and season with the mirin and soy sauce. Remove it from the pan and sprinkle on generous amount of pepper. That's it. If you are opting for a non-stick pan, let me know how it goes. I usually write down all the recipes on my blog, but I didn't include this recipe because it's totally a failure. But the other 2 recipes are on my blog. The link is in the description box below. Please try and tag me on Instagram if you make one. This is all that I did the day before. On the next day, all you have to do is assemble, which will take you 10 minutes or so. I always have cooked rice in the freezer. Mix the rice with yukari seasoning, and this is totally optional. Make a bed of rice first. Place shiso leaves. This is also optional. Shiso leaves makes everything look prettier. By the way, I explained some bento tips in last week's video, so feel free to watch it if you haven't. For tofu, if you can, refeed them to kill the bacteria in the morning. Except for the salad, it is always safe to do so. It isn't appetizing at all, so fix it with some chopped spring onion along with the black pepper to give it a nice kick. Fill in the space with the carrot salad and spicy garlic edamame. Have you experienced that all the components in bento went all over when you open the bento box? To prevent that, you want to put all the components as tightly as possible so that there's no space to jump around. This is so hard to explain in English. I hope you understand what I mean. To make it even prettier, I placed pickled plum at the end, but again, this is totally optional. There it is. Here's my under $3 vegan bento box. It will take you 30 minutes of prepping, but you're gonna have leftovers which you can enjoy throughout the week. So it will cut down on your time overall. When you open the fridge, these dishes are waiting for you. It's so good. Forming a meal prepping habit using Japanese cooking method is what sustains my family's health and finances. That's what I teach in my online course. If you are interested, let me share a student transformation story.
I'm Vanessa and I live in Northeast Florida with my husband. We both work full-time. I've worked in the legal industry as a paralegal for over 20 years, and being able to cook Japanese food has been a lifelong dream of mine. My husband and I have been doing eating Japanese food exclusively for every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for about 6 months now. We love it. I mean, every meal is so exciting, it's healthy, it's delicious. We look forward to the meals now. One thing that we both noticed right off the bat is there wasn't that compulsion or that desire to go back for seconds, to keep eating and to snack and all that. It's the weirdest thing, but doing the Japanese diet, we both feel perfectly satisfied doing the ichi juice on site. I mean, like, we'll have our bowl of rice and our miso soup, our 2 vegetables, and we'll have like a meat or a fish or a tofu. And at the end, I mean, it's perfect. I mean, in my opinion, the Japanese have perfected healthy and delicious. Like, where those 2 things intersect, I mean, they've just perfected it in a way that I don't think other cuisines, have. It's just so awesome. Anybody who wants to eat healthier, or who's vegan, or who's vegetarian or pescatarian or anything like that, and looking for a variety for new dishes and so forth, would benefit from this. Whether you're a brand new beginner or you already have a foundation, I think that so many people could benefit from it, that the course really meets you where you are.